Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going over our November 2025 wrap up. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of books. I also had a higher rate of DNFing this month than I have had in previous months. I think it's because I tried some different things this month. So we're going to go over that. But I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books. Love it. DNF'd 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. And some of them were sad. Specifically one. There's really one that just actually made me really, really sad. But we have a lot to go over. We're going to start with the DNFs. And we're going to start with the non-physical DNFs that we have. The very first DNF that I want to talk about is the Enchanted Greenhouse. This is probably the most disappointing one this month. I didn't vibe with this. And there was a risk because I loved the Spell Shop. However, I don't necessarily normally love cozy fantasy. This is the second book in the Spell Shop series. And it's following something to do with the talking plant from the first one. I'm not going to give anything away because it is a little bit of a spoiler. Although you were kind of told about it from the first book. But it's supposed to be this like cute story where we're following this woman who is taking care of these enchanted greenhouses. However, the animal companion, normally I love an animal companion, the animal companion in this are plants. And that's how it was in the first book as well. But I loved the plant in the first book. I did not like the plants in this book, and they took up a large chunk of the book. I got to 55% before I ended up DNFing this. My mom actually read it. She liked it. She did think it was a little bit slower than the first one as well, but she did end up enjoying this one. I sadly could not get through this one. I just wasn't enjoying my time. I was finding myself rewinding all the time, and if that starts happening, I just can't do it anymore. So that means I am unfortunately DNFing this series. I will not be continuing on. Another DNF was The Locked Ward. Surprise. I was so surprised because I really enjoyed The Glass House, The House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen last year. So I was really, really excited to read The Locked Ward this year. However, I really, really did not like the choice of using you. So when we're in a certain perspective, so it switches between two perspectives, which is pretty common in thriller books. One perspective was fine. It was just kind of boring. It's also a weird twin separated at birth kind of story, which I should have known would not be my cup of tea, but I kind of ignored it because I was so excited about liking The House of Glass. So in this one, our main character is trying to reconnect with her sister who was just arrested on murder charges, and there's something obviously weird going on. So you're following both sisters, but in one of the sisters' perspectives, the writing is saying you all the time. You are doing this. You are doing this. And I'm just like, I don't vibe with that. I do not vibe with that. I was zoning out, didn't want to pay attention. That's not my style. It's why I didn't end up getting through some of the Inheritance cycle, the Inheritance series. Oh, what is it called? The N.K. Jemisin series, where they use yeah, I didn't like it then either. So apparently that is just a thing that I really, really don't like. So unfortunately, I didn't really like the plot, didn't like the setup, and didn't like the usage of second person. Is that what it's called? I've never had to reference it because I've never had to talk about it on the channel. So I think that's what it is. Next one we DNF'd was actually for my second episode of my Knocking Down My Neck Alley on Instagram. If you have not followed that series yet, if you don't know that that is going on, I am currently doing a Instagram only series where I'm reading through my Neck Alley books. I'm on episode 2. I just posted it yesterday after fighting with Instagram's formatting. It was such a pain in the butt. So go check out my Instagram. It is linked down below to go check out those 2 videos. But I ended up DNFing Thorn Queen, which is the second book in the Rose Bargain series. You guys know I read the Rose Bargain in my Reading on My Book Box series. I liked it. It was a 3.5. It was nothing to write home about. The romance wasn't the best, but I really liked the plot line and I thought it was interesting. I liked the alternate history England. Thought that was very cool. Unfortunately, pretty much everything that you could do that I didn't like from, basically take everything that I didn't like from the first book, amplify it for the second book. So it's just, and all the characters regressed. So every character regressed, the romance got worse. They added a bunch of like weird sister tension. So there was always sister tension in the first book. However, it got significantly worse. The jealousy was crazy. I didn't like how the romantic interest was acting. He was, oh God, it was driving me nuts. I didn't like the twist because I did end up skimming towards the end. I read 60% of this book before I DNF'd it. I couldn't go any further because I hated the characters that much. Unfortunately, that is a DNF. I do think it's a duology, but technically it is DNFing a series. And then moving on to the physical DNFs, all of these are from videos. So we DNF'd Vesseless. I think I read 60 pages of this because again, my rule is reading 50 pages. If I read over 50 pages, I talk about it on the channel in my wrap up. Didn't like this, didn't like the writing. Really bad. really bad. I know a lot of people like this. I couldn't even tell you what this is about because it was so bizarre, and I don't think anything really made sense in what I read about this book so far. So not a fan of this one. And that was our just reading romantasy. I think that was the first Shop My Shelves video, which I'm about to pick the next prompt for that one. I'm excited for episode 2. Then we have Blood Moon. This was in the reading all of our book box videos, I think for August, because I think we're on September. I think it's August. Yikes. This is basically a ripoff of Twilight. It really is. There was nothing that original about this book whatsoever. I just did not want to read another Twilight. Again, I talked about in the video, Twilight should not be the book that you are trying to emulate in this time period, because Twilight was very of its time. If you published Twilight now, it would not work. People would despise it, because I've tried rereading it. It's not great. There's a lot of problems in the book. So out of all the books that you want to emulate, you want to be like, you literally copy scenes from, full scenes, this is not it. And again, our main character's name is Mirabella. I mean, this is what we're working with. So no, that was bad. That was bad. And then our final one was Catabasis. I tried so hard. I think I read 150 pages, something like that. I read 150 pages. I thought I had read 400. That was the vibe of this book. This is just a dark academia travel through hell story, but basically make hell incredibly boring and dull and make it so that we know R.F. Kuang is a brilliant person, which we all know. We all know she's brilliant. I don't have a problem with that. It's the textbook discussions and kind of almost making it seem like she wants you to feel dumb while reading this book. And that is a hot take. That is probably a overly mean take, but this is now like the 3rd book that I felt the same way about. So I didn't like it. I'm probably done with R.F. Kuang except for the Poppy War. I'm gonna try the Poppy War because I've been told by everybody to read it. I have the 1st and 2nd book. I will be reading the Poppy War, but I think I'm done from this point on. Okay, moving on to books that we actually read, and our lowest book this month, we actually didn't have any 1 stars. We did have a 2-star though, Shield of Sparrows. I've talked about it ad length. If you want to know more about my thoughts, this is in my Shop My Shelves video, episode 1, I will link it. It was just boring. It was boring. There's nothing else to say about this. It's following our main character who ends up getting married off to this kingdom, and it's a travel story for some parts of it. It is sitting in a village for most of the book doing nothing. There's monsters, but the monsters aren't even that interesting. There's just nothing interesting about this book. Next up, quite a disappointment. I read this for my Reading Goodreads Romantasy vlog. Enchantra. This is the sequel to Phantasma. I gave it a 2.5 stars. I didn't like the main character. That was like the biggest issue, is I really, really, really didn't like the main character, and I thought the trials, or not the trials, but the game, it's supposed to be Ready or Not, it just wasn't fun. I thought the side characters were significantly more interesting than our main character and the love interest. I'm hoping, the only reason I pushed through this is to read the next book, because there is going to be a 3rd book, so I'm hoping that the 3rd book is more similar in vibe to the 1st book. Next, moving into our 3 stars, we have The Ghostwriter. This is a solid mystery thriller. This is a 3.5. The only reason it's not getting a 4 or a 3.5 to a 4 is it's very sad. It's very, very sad, and I did have a little bit of a reading comprehension problem with this, so it's definitely a me problem with this one, probably because I listened to it and I wasn't fully focused on like chapter headings. But this is following our main character who had a tragic past. Their father was kind of an absentee father, the mom definitely absentee, and there's something traumatic that happened in the dad's past that has kind of led to a downfall in his personality, his life, whatever. And our main character is a ghostwriter, and she has been hired to write her father's story, and he has never told anybody what has happened, and it's kind of you unraveling the story of what happened to him, and it has to do with these murder cases that happened in the dad's past. So it was just really sad. I do like the twists. I got some of them. I definitely did not get some of the other ones. I thought it was a little predictable. It was just like a little bit all over the place, but in a really good way. Like, I think this is really good. I think if you enjoy mystery thrillers, you should pick this one up. It was a really fun read. And if you want to know more in-depth thoughts, that was our book club pick for October. Next, again, big surprise. This is in the Goodreads Romantasy vlog. Accomplice of the Villain, I give this a 3-star. Can't really talk about it. It's 3rd book in a series. I just don't like the direction that the series has taken. I loved the longing and yearning in the first 2 books, but I was expecting more payoff now that we're 3 books in. And this book felt like a rinse and repeat of book 2. It almost did not need to exist except the ending of the book. I felt like almost the side characters were significantly more important in this than the actual main characters were. Those were the characters I was more interested in, sadly. So I just feel really weird about the series, and I'm really curious where the next one is gonna go because I'm a little nervous now. That was a 5-star prediction. That was not a 5-star. Next up, reading all of my September, but I really think it's September. August. Reading all my August books is Immortal Consequences. Again, I will link it just in case I did get the dates wrong, but I think it's on August. 3.5. Lot of problems. Very entertained, but a lot of problems. This is like between a 3 and a 3.5. This is a weird one because I love the world, but the ending just absolutely fell apart for me. And again, I don't think there needed to be 6 perspectives in this. So this is following 6 different characters, and they are in this purgatory type of situation where they're going to school and learning things and how to be these like reaper or caretaker things. And there's also a massive competition. The competition actually is pretty cool. So a lot of romance, a lot of competition, a lot of tension, really cool world building, but the ending was rough. However, I'm excited to see what happens in the next one. Next up, we have book 4 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I'm reading this with my husband. We are currently almost done book 5 at this point. So we'll be talking about book 5 in December wrap up. This one struggled. I struggled. I still give it a 4. I gave it a 4. This is the book that kind of solidified for me going back. This solidified for me rereading the series because I had a hard time following this one. So really can't talk about it much, but the Dungeon Crawler Carl series is basically following our 2 main characters. Mainly Carl is our main character, but our other main character is Princess Donut, who is a talking cat. And the world has basically been farmed by these aliens where they have stuck the humans in this giant world dungeon and they have to fight for survival, and they keep going lower in these dungeon levels. Very video game. 100% the way you should read this is through audiobook. The audiobook is fantastic. I wasn't super convinced of the audiobook in the first book. Like, for me, the problem is I've watched so much Seinfeld that the narrator sounded like Putty, and so I was a little taken aback in the first book, but now that I'm further in the books, this is probably the best audiobook narrator in existence. The crazy stuff that he does with his voices is insane. And I do know, I think they start adding narrators in the last book or this book. I don't remember. This one is very complicated. This one is so complicated that I was definitely having a hard time visualizing a lot of things that were happening. So I was lost a lot of this book. I still enjoyed it because I love the relationships. I love the growing world and learning all these different things, the politics, making friends. I love the found family in this. I had a really, really hard time with this level of the dungeon. So luckily, the book that we're reading right now, significantly easier to understand, having a great time with it. I do need to go back and reread this one and the train one, because the train one I struggled with as well. Oh my god, I forgot to throw in my stupid, I have two books that are not physical, so hold on. Okay, both of them are 3 stars. So backtrack me before Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I Am Cleopatra, I read that was episode 1 of my NetGalley thing. I gave it a 3-star. I loved a lot of it, but I explained better in that video, actually. It's been a while since I read it, but it's basically you're taking a very small portion of Cleopatra's story and you are writing an entire book about it and basing her entire life about it, but it feels more like it's about Cleopatra's love and relationship with Caesar, not necessarily about actually Cleopatra. And that was probably my biggest problem with it and why I give it only a 3-star, is it was very hard to follow because, again, very small portion of Egyptian history, but you're supposed to know almost all of Egyptian and Roman history to understand all of the different players. So that was really difficult to follow, which again, you're going to find that in historical fiction books. You're just going to. Again, my biggest problem though was I did not feel like I got a whole picture of Cleopatra as a character. It felt like we softened her for the sake of creating a soft woman. Like it did feel like that. I wanted the Cleopatra after Caesar. I wanted the end of her story. I wanted the beginning of the story, and we just didn't get the whole thing. So saying I Am Cleopatra, it's more like, I talked about it, it more felt like it was about the women who loved Caesar. That's more like what the title probably should be. So wasn't the biggest fan, but also it super piqued my interest in Egyptian and Roman history. And then the other one that I missed was Forget Me Not. This is the newest release by Stacey Willingham. I did not love her book last year. This one was better. Still not a flicker in the dark, still not that good, but this one was better. It did, again, lose me towards the middle. I thought it was actually going to be a 5-star till about 40% of the book. And I really didn't like the ending of it. I just didn't like the ending, so I ended up with a 3-star. It was entertaining. It's following our main character whose sister died when she was younger. There's someone who's been convicted for it. So she has a bunch of problems. She's a crime writer, but she's struggling at her job and she's going freelance. And so she has been told that she needs to go back, basically move back in with her mom because her mom is struggling. But she has other plans and she ends up stumbling upon a place where her sister worked before the sister died. So now she's basically looking into her sister's death and what her sister was going through. So it's about the sister, it's about the people living on the farm, and it's about our main character, all interwoven together like mystery and thrillers do. So this one's fine. It's not phenomenal. It's good though. Okay, back to the 4 stars. We next have Voidwalker. This is a great follow-up to The Phoenix Keeper. It is definitely different. However, I think the writing is better. The writing is really, really good. This is very light monster romance, probably as far into monster romance I will delve, because our main character does have claws and a tail and fangs, and it's not my vibe. My brain was turning him into a human 90% of the book. But I love the main character. I love the storyline. I love the different world. This world is so cool. It's so different. And I'm so excited for the next book. So I would highly recommend Voidwalker. Don't be scared off that it is a, let's see, what is, do we have the artwork of him? Don't be scared off that it is kind of a monster romance. It doesn't really feel that way. Yeah, that's our main character. It's not that scary, but I do really like this book, and I'm really, really excited for the next book and to see what else this author puts out. Next, we have our 4.5, and that is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I finally read the sequel to Bride. I've just been putting it off because Bride was my favorite book the year that I read it. This definitely is not making the top 10 this year. Sadly, this was completely way more about sex than Bride was. It did feel more sex heavy than romance heavy. I did like the longing in this. I thought the longing was done very, very well. This was a 5-star until about 60% into the book, and then it was just sex the rest of the book. I also didn't like the cult aspect that was happening in this. It was not my favorite plot line. I'm starting to think I don't like cults in books, which is crazy because I'm obsessed with cults and true crime. I don't know. I don't know. I will never understand myself. It's just following the friend of the main character from Bride. So I would recommend reading Bride first because you're going to miss a lot of references because that character Misery is brought up a lot in this book because they are best friends. So you're going to miss a lot if you don't read Bride. But I do think this is good. So if you're a little hesitant to read Mate, I would go into it knowing that it is heavier, much spicier, but it is still Ali Hazelwood's writing. It's still very addictive and very good. I read it in like a day. Now we are on to our 2 5-stars. Direbound is our first one. This was so good. This is Fourth Wing. It's Fourth Wing but wolves. It really is, and I don't care. I don't care. I needed another book that was like that. I do think there are... It's ACOTAR meets Fourth Wing. That's really what the first book of ACOTAR meets Fourth Wing, but you can tell it's going to turn into A Court of Mist and Fury. So excited. So excited for the second book. I do think the ending left a little bit to be desired from one of the romance situations that was happening. I do think there were some obligatory sex scenes that were just thrown in here too because it seemed like the author thought they needed to add sex scenes to keep people interested. But no, you had a really, really strong plot, so you really didn't need that. So there were some issues with this, but I don't think I can give it anything lower than a 5 because I'm addicted to this book and I can't wait for the second one to come out. It's not as good as Quicksilver. Not as good as Quicksilver. However, it is still a pretty good comp. If you liked Quicksilver, you'll probably like this. And then our best book of the month, and I think it's at number 2 or tied for first. And this was totally shocking because I had no expectations of it. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Sobbed. I listened to the audiobook too. It was so good. I bawled while reading this book multiple times. This is so good. It is following our main character who was a very, very powerful witch, but now she has been relegated to the outskirts of society and she is taking care of this magical inn, and it's so magical. This is the best cozy book I've ever read. I want to scream from the rooftops for everybody to read this because it is so cute. And I love our main characters. The romance is not that important in this, to be honest, which is somewhat why potentially people may not like it as much, but Oh, the characters, the found family, the inn, the setting, the plot. I loved the plot. The plot was so good. I'm just so excited about this, and I can't wait to go back and read their first book, because technically, like, they're not like in a series, but it's a very similar vibe. So I'm really excited to read the first book because I have it somewhere upstairs. I don't know where it is. Anyway, best book of the month. So excited. 2 5-stars. Fantastic reading month. And yeah, that is everything that I have for you today. Let's see. Anyway, that is everything that I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely make sure you subscribe so you miss any future content. Definitely like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below what you guys read in November, what you guys liked, if you want to read anything that I talked about. And if you have nothing else to say but you want to let me know that you're here. Oof, okay. I already did this one for the romantasy vlog. So let's see. The other 5-star was Dire Bound. Did I do this for one? I might have done this for one. Anyway, do a sword. Leave a sword. There's lots of fighting, combat, etc. Leave a sword or a wolf. I don't know if there's a wolf emoji, but sword or a wolf works perfectly. If you want to leave a comment but you don't want to let me know that you're here, or you just made it to the end of the video, definitely leave an emoji. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.